M4. This is a 2023 M4 Competition X Drive. Currently flashed on a custom Flex Blend tune by F80 Paul, running boot mod. And you're coming on a little drive along, and I'm going to talk about ethanol mixes and how to get the perfect blend, how to find the right E85, how to get that all dialed in, and bring you guys on a little ride with me. So I mentioned I'm running BM3. That's the software. How I actually find the E85, I will link in the description the actual application that I use. And there's just a pretty easy way to list out where each of the E85 stations are. So I use a map for that. No matter where I'm going, I can see exactly where I want to go. So I have to fill up because there's going to be some runs down in Mexico. So I have a bit of a ride. Maybe I'll stop along one of these ones on the way down to San Fernando when I go racing later. But what I wanted to talk about is how to actually figure out what blend to use. So I can run anything from straight 93 octane up to around E80, and I'm fine. Right now I just have pretty much downpipes and the tune. But anything over E55, I don't make any more power. So there's almost no point in running anything more than E55. So that's actually what I'm going for. Is I would love to get E55. With the software that I'm running, I can just test right through my RPM gauge. I can see, I'll make this a little bit bigger, I can see the fuel blend that's in the tank right now. And it's not going to be exciting if I check right now because I'm at E20. I just push the cruise control stock down, and you can see that it goes from my 1800 RPMs up to around 2000. That's my current ethanol reading. I'm at E20. I was running E55 and decided to just fill up with 93. So what ended up happening is it diluted my E55 down to E20, and I've run through about half a tank. So I still have a little bit too much fuel in the tank, but I can get close to my E50, which is around, I make pretty good power there. I'm not going to notice much of a difference between E50 and E55, but if there's runs later, then at least I'll be prepared for that. So the way that I calculate it is that I actually use the Fuelit app. So I'll pull that up. And this Fuelit app, I actually don't have a reading. I don't have any Fuelit products, but I will say that the app itself is actually really good. Like, I actually love it. So what you're able to do in the settings menu is change your fuel tank size. And what I'm able to do from that is it then lets me calculate exactly how many gallons that I need of E85 and how many gallons of 93. So I can see that I changed it to 15.6 gallons, which is the full tank size of a G80 and G83, and G82. I am almost exactly 1/2 of a gallon, or 1/2 of a tank. Another way to check that is in my BMW app.
All right.
Cancel. So my current E content is just under E20, so it's around E19. So I'm just under half a tank, E19. The pump content you can measure manually, and that's actually what I suggest to figure out just exactly the E content that you're putting into your tank. I am lucky that this E85 measures over E80. There's a lot of places that you'll get E75, E77. This is E81. Funny enough, it's a grocery store that has it, so I'm going to an H-E-B. My desired content is E55, which I know that I'm getting an error because I have too much fuel in the tank right now to be able to achieve that. So if I slide down the desired content until it doesn't say error anymore, I can see that with regular gas, if I put in about 7.8 gallons, they'll get me to about E50. If I really wanted that E55, if I knew that there were some serious runs, if I was going to the track trying to hit a personal best, I would just run more gas down. I would maybe go out for a spirited drive, bring down my fuel level, so that I can put more E85 in. But I know that I'm going to be able to get close to E50, and with that E50 content, it gets me moving pretty good. It gets me moving good enough, I should say. So I'm not going to put any 93 in. I'm at half a tank at E20 right now, E19. And I'll just fill up the rest of the way E85. But I would suggest playing around with this application. And once you get used to just the different levels, when you're at E50, for instance, and you're at half a tank, then it takes less E85 to get you to your desired level, and then you do have to put in some 93. And you're going to notice by the way that you drive, your normal fill-up patterns, that when you get to about a third of a tank, you know what your levels are going to be, and it just becomes habit. A lot of people are afraid the first couple times that they don't want to put too much E85 in. They don't know what the measurements are. It's math. It fucking sucks. I hate doing math to be able to tell you how I'm going to make more power by putting E85 into my car. But being able to get, 75 more horsepower because I'm running a fuel blend, I'll do that math. And this application makes it super easy. If I want to know exactly what my E-content is, and again, I'm able to do it while the car is off in the automatic stop-start. If I push the cruise control button halfway down in this BM3 custom ROM, it gives me the exact level. So what I'll do is I'll go ahead and I'm about to pull in, get some gas. Again, just under half a tank. I'll fill it up. The rest of it's going to be E85, and I'll show you guys exactly what the content is after. But aside from that, aside from the calculation, filling up the gas, there's a flex fuel sensor by BootMod, by Pro Tuning Freaks, that's sitting underneath the rear seat. That sits on, it's called a top hat on top of the fuel pump. So it's the closest source to the actual fuel itself. So it gives you a quick reading. But aside from calculating the percentages to put in, actually putting in the E85, and having that flex fuel sensor and the tune, there's really nothing else that I have to do. There's not a whole lot of thinking once you get used to it. So I enjoy it. The first time I did it, I was afraid that I was going to mess up the percentages and potentially break something. The car compensates. It's a flex fuel tune, and when you first start the tunes, you actually, honestly, most of the time you start off with 93, and that's what they'll end up telling you is start with 93, go to E30. Once E30 is dialed in, go to E50. Once E50 was dialed in, we went to E60, E70, E80, and then full E85. And I bet there were probably close to maybe 40 revisions that I've done to get fully dialed in. And I don't know, really happy with the way that it drives, really happy with the vehicle. And all of those revisions, all of that legwork put in up front, being able to understand how to calculate this, it's worth it. It's worth your time just to make it thoughtless and super easy in the future. But good news, there's only one car in front of me. I'll go get some E85 and call it a day. Super easy, barely an inconvenience. I'm gonna go get my gas and I will jump in and I'll show you guys the results after. Peace. All right, got our E85, and one thing to know is that it takes time to actually mix up. I've seen videos of people waiting around a half hour. I will say that it definitely doesn't take that long. For me, I can actually tell by distance about when it gets fully mixed. So I just put just over half a tank in. So my tank is completely full. So I am at full capacity right now. And if I do my check, I'm at E30, which is not completely accurate. Once it gets mixed up, I should probably be just over E50, right around E50, and I'll be good to go. So all it takes to mix it up, just drive around a little bit. That's literally all you have to do. By the time I get home, I'm good. It's about less than a 10-minute ride. So about 10 minutes for me and I am good to go. In fact, what I did when I was doing my data logs, when I got the message to go ahead and up the e-content, is I would come here, I would go get my E85, make sure that the calculator was accurate. I would do my drive down to the next on-ramp, and by the time I got down to the next on-ramp, just regular street driving, my content was correct. Right now it's reading high. We went from E30 to E60. It'll drop down. It needs to blend as it's going through that sensor. It's picking up whatever ethanol it's delivering right through the pump. But give it about 10 minutes and it'll stabilize. It'll maybe jump around 1% or so. But that's all it really takes. You saw me when I got on, when I started, I was around E18, E19. Filled it up, I was halfway full. Brought me up to just under, it'll level out. I'll put it back to the M mode so it's a little more obvious on this cluster. E16 right now, it'll come down. And I'll be good for tonight. And if there are runs tonight, I'll post it after this video. Maybe that'll be my outro. We do have a good sunset. Maybe I'll just grab a couple clips of that.